I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
He's divided his country and he's divided his party.
Donald Trump is not a Republican, bottom line.
So Trump has stolen your party?
That's exactly what this is about.
She says it's not too late to get a different candidate on the ballot.
You understand, Kendall wants to talk to me, right? Yeah, right.
Are you prepared to fight dirty?
I'm ready. Once it's over, I'm moving to Australia, so I'm all ready, okay?
Tonight, we go behind the scenes of the campaign by rebel Republicans to destroy Donald Trump's bid for the presidency.
I have never witnessed such, in this country, absolute total corruption. I don't know a better way to put it.
This is pulsating magnetic therapy.
Definitely get stress release when I come here and get treatment. And
This is Kendall Unruh. She's a school teacher and a Republican Party delegate.
it helps keep my brain clear. I use it on my ear, just because I started falling apart once you turn 50. You know,
Today, Kendall's having magnetic therapy from her husband, Wally, preparing for a big few weeks ahead.
Wally, they're filming.
She's about to travel to Cleveland for the Republican convention to help formally nominate her party's candidate for this year's presidential race.
That's a godly feeling. Feels great. I should charge extra for miracles.
I really did need to get this before I went to the convention.
This isolates the low back.
A party member for more than 30 years, she's a Republican loyalist.
And it's just necessary for my health with how active I am.
But for the past month, Kendall's been building a campaign from inside the party to try and stop Donald Trump from securing the nomination for president.
Come all the way forward.
I really just kind of want to do that.
1, 2, 3, push back. You can see it.
Donald Trump is not a Republican, bottom line. He's a populist and he's a protectionist, and all of his policies reflect that. So rather than find a party that he could run on their platform because it reflected him, he said, I'm going to change the Republican Party.
So Trump has stolen your party?
And that's exactly what this is about. We have no party left if he's our nominee, because he has then changed what the brand means to be a conservative. Hi, Megan. This is Kendall Unruh. Hi, Matt. This is Kendall Unruh, and I'm your fellow Rules Committee member from the state of Colorado. Hi, Rosie. This is Kendall Unruh. Hi, Joanne. This is Kendall Unruh, and I know that you have been getting hammered, as have I, with all the emails about the conscience rule.
Kendall is one of almost 2,500 delegates from across America, selected through a process of state-based votes called primaries and caucuses.
I know. My phone gets so hot that it just shuts down everything.
Delegates are pledged or bound to the candidates, this time overwhelmingly in support of Donald Trump.
I will look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.
But Kendall is trying to free them. As a member of the powerful Republican Rules Committee, she's trying to introduce a clause that would let delegates unbind and vote their conscience. In theory, robbing Donald Trump of the numbers and the nomination.
I'm against the conscience rule.
Okay. And that's all I'm trying to do is just see where everybody's at, so.
She needs 28 fellow members of the 112-person Rules Committee to support her conscience clause. So far, it's proving a challenge.
Mailbox full. Well, this is the grunt work of getting politics done. It's counting your votes. I honestly don't know the final vote count. And I don't think there's anyone out there that knows, because it's just such a emotional issue right now.
People accuse me, oh, you're supporting Hillary. No, I'm doing this because of Hillary and the Democrats and the left's agenda and how they've destroyed our country. And now it's our job to tell him that he can't crush our party. He has to hit the door because we're not going to support him. And there's enough votes right now, if they stay solid, that he's not going to meet his threshold.
God bless y'all.
Just a lot of meetings, a lot of media. That's my life right now. Doing my job.
I'm gonna have my cap, okay?
Sure. This is CSNBC?
CNBC.
CNBC.
If I'm a delegate and I don't want to vote for Trump, why don't I stand down? I mean, the point is to express what the voters want ultimately, right?
Well, because actually the delegates are the ones that are doing their job to actually use wisdom and discernment and apply the knowledge that they have at this time subsequent to the primaries, which are not votes. They're actually just preference polls. And that's the job of the party within our representative system, within our constitutional republic.
She actually wants to change convention rules.
You are proposing a new rule for Cleveland, so explain what it is.
She's calling it the Free the Delegates 2016 and says it's not too late to get a different candidate on the ballot.
She's part of that new push to change convention rules.
What's the basic idea of Free the Delegates?
Well, basically, it just started with a small handful of people that truly were concerned. We were delegates that we just simply in good conscience could not support this nominee.
Yes, we have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, and you're going to see all of it employed instead of
gonna be
having
exciting.
the RNC control it
That's for
and
sure.
mitigate our voice.
Trying to keep track of them all is impossible.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
We're here to see you in action.
In action. Well, okay, then I gotta act like I'm busy, right?
Yes. I thought you were very busy.
Act like I'm doing something. Just been sitting around eating bonbons, right?
Really? There's more to this than
I
that,
have been
isn't
up
there?
since 4 o'clock this morning, and I've been on the phone nonstop and doing media and talking and meetings, and I'm tired. But that's
Are you ready
okay.
to go home yet?
I'll sleep when the revolution is over, right?
Kendall's got some backup from Washington.
Hey, I'm Dane Waters.
Dane Waters is a seasoned political operative, a lifelong Republican. He's worked on 5 presidential campaigns. Most recently, John McCain's run against Obama in 2008. You seem pretty buoyant. Are you feeling actually quite confident at the moment?
Oh, I am. I mean, I firmly believe that if the nomination were to take place today, the vote were to take place today, Donald Trump would not win the nomination. He would not.
HQ during the convention is this rented office space in downtown Cleveland. They're a mix of paid staff and volunteers, surviving on Coke, pizza, and not much sleep. The operation is funded by individual donations, $2.5 million raised in just a few weeks.
Unquestionably, this will be a dirty fight. Are you prepared to fight dirty?
I'm ready. Once it's over, I'm moving to Australia, so I'm all ready. Okay.
Hey, you said Colorado last night.
Yeah, well, you're going to be there, so it's like ground zero. So
Right, politics isn't dirty in Australia. You'll be fine. One of the big problems for this group is that Donald Trump won the primaries convincingly with over 13 million votes, more than any other candidate ever. But this year, unprecedented numbers of non-Republicans voted, not just the card-carrying party members.
And if you want to go back to the 13 million people that Donald Trump got, we're a country of 310 million people. 13 million people is not a huge number. That's 9%.
They still count.
No, 54% of the people voted for somebody other than Trump.
Sure.
Okay, 54%.
But he was the most popular of all the candidates.
Just because you get 2 inches from the finish line doesn't mean you automatically win, okay? You don't.
Okay.
And there's another problem. If not Trump, then who?
What I fully expect and hope will happen is that after the rules meeting, after the rules committee meeting decides what they're going to do, I'm hopeful that somebody steps forward and says, I want to run.
Well, it's the middle of the night here. We've just got a call because there's this marathon session of the Rules Committee. This could be a make or break moment for the Dump Trump campaign, so we're going to go and find out what's happened.
All right, just for everyone's information, we have passed our 9:30 deadline. My understanding is that very few amendments came in at that point.
Unexpectedly, the two-day meeting is being collapsed into one long session. Kendall is being ambushed.
Is an amendment to rule number 38 has been submitted by the lady from Colorado, Ms. Unruh, who is recognized for the purpose of making a motion. Ms. Unruh? Is Ms. Unruh here?
Does anybody need any information about the conscience clause? Obviously, this is a very important topic to the hearts of many Americans.
All those in favor of adopting Amendment 38.1 as submitted by Ms. Unruh of Colorado, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. Clearly, the nays have it.
James, could I interrupt? How are you feeling about it?
No. I don't want to feel. I have no feelings.
Was it the right outcome tonight, do you think? Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Hasn't been a great night for you by the sound of things.
Yes, I'm angry. I'll be okay. I'll be nice.
This is truly nothing more than the RNC and the Trump campaign rigging the nomination.
Are these the people?
Yeah, those are the people.
What's happened in the last couple of hours?
I mean, the Rules Committee voted like they did in 1976 to bind the delegates, so the delegates cannot vote their conscience. They must follow what their states did. I mean, prior to this, what our whole thing was built on is that the delegates could vote their conscience, right? And that they had the right to say if they don't want Donald Trump, they could vote against Donald Trump. It just proves we had enough votes and enough delegates to stop Donald Trump. Because otherwise, why would they keep going through all these actions to stop him?
Happy with the outcome tonight?
I'll defer to my friends over here. You know, this is democracy at work. This is democracy at work. We saw a group of people sit down, figure out, disagree on stuff, and make decisions about rules for a political party. You know, you can't do this in China. You can't do it in Russia. You can't do it in Iran. You would do it in America. It's what makes America, you know, to coin a phrase, what makes America great.
So what's the message then to these people that want to stop Trump or dump Trump, that say this is just the beginning, we're going to keep fighting?
The message to them is you got a choice to make. You want Hillary Clinton to be president with all of her problems and her record of failed leadership over 25 years, or do you want Trump? And everybody's got to make that decision.
I know you're really busy, but I just want to have some sense of how much of a challenge is ahead of you, because this does make it difficult.
Well, actually, after today, we move into the phase of the floor plan, the whip plan. So that's what we've been gearing up for.
Are you feeling a lot of pressure?
I'm just feeling tired right now. So we've been sitting all day. Am I feeling the pressure of what? No, because we have the numbers on the floor, and we know that. I mean, we've polled over half the delegates, and we have 70%. So we're not worried about that part. And Donald Trump is obviously terrified of that part. So that's okay. We'll make a good show for him. So
it could be chaos.
It's gonna be chaos, but they chose that. You know, so it's not over yet. You guys are gonna be here all week.
I'll let you get some.
All right. Okay.
You know, I read about there's an insurgent group. You know, the same group that I beat is insurgent. There are a couple of guys there trying to go to Cleveland. They're trying to get delegates. I thought they already tried that. And we're going to beat Hillary. And it would be helpful if the Republicans could help us a little bit, you know, okay?
Just a little bit.
Vote your conscience. Well, you had your chance to do that on primary day in your state. This wasn't the time in the convention, so we crushed them. I mean, as I'm telling people today, never Trump is never more. I mean, they're just gone.
He's not going to be
At the Never Trump headquarters, they're busier than ever. This movement is now the big story of the convention. And as the pressure and media interest grows, it's becoming harder to catch Kendall.
How you doing this morning, Kendall?
I'm doing well.
Action
How are you guys
stations?
doing? What's that?
Action stations.
Actions, that's right. Moving into the next phase here,
Which is what?
which is the floor whip program. And I've got to go in here.
You're always running.
I'm always running somewhere. I'm always running into closed doors. However, look at the closed door session I'm running into. I will be right back.
I'll talk to you on the other side. Yeah, it's us again.
I really like you guys. I mean, that doesn't mean you guys like me, but I really like you guys, you know? You're like, you know, really, I'm actually energized. I'm actually, you know, what happened last night, honestly, you know, they created a monster, is what they did last night.
Isn't it a sign, though, that it's kind of time to pack up and go home for your campaign?
No, far from it.
The headlines today are, it's over for the dump Trump movement.
It's fizzled. I mean, like the Wall Street Journal had, the movement's fizzled. And the National Review had this thing that we're dead in the water. But the bottom line is we didn't fizzle. They tried to crush us, okay? Which means that they were concerned about what we had.
Now, let's be quite the operation. There's like, I think they said 16 boxes will be rolling in just whenever.
It's now time for Plan B. They're taking this battle to the convention floor.
There you go. And we're going to have an operation here tomorrow evening of people with irons, hats, and all that kind of stuff.
They're buying hats, bright green hats, to give delegates to wear on the convention floor. A visual protest against the might of the Republican Party.
What's the total cost?
Do you know what the total cost is right now? $67.34.93.
For 2,000 hats? Mm-hmm. And just for curiosity, how much are 1,000?
What is it? Sorry.
Okay, so we're trying to figure out how to get 2,000 hats here, and we can't get them printed, so what we're probably going to do is get 2,000 hats, and we're going to somehow figure out how to print on there the message, whatever the message is, and I don't know what the message is yet, so.
What might they say? What might the hat say? Stop Trump.
No, this is.
Just give me some, spitball some ideas.
Okay, first of all, I'll just spell this is all about, you know, this is more than Trump now. This is about the vice, the Republican Party trying to just shut out the people. So what might it say?
This is about the fight for the heart and the soul of the Republican Party.
That's exactly right. Now, what is it going to say? I don't know, something like, we will not be silenced, or, I mean, if you're a smart guy, if you get any idea, throw them out of here. We can.
You're running out of ideas.
No. It's just that we
pray a hedge of protection completely around her. I have seen the attacks already.
The battle is getting uglier, and Kendall is turning to her faith. An evangelical Christian who supported the failed candidate, Ted Cruz, she believes taking down Trump is her God-given mission.
Oh, I feel strength by the prayers. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't feeling the strength of the prayers. I feel safe. God's my bodyguard, and I sincerely, truly believe that. My family, even with all the threats, they've said, we feel safe.
What are they saying? What are the threats specifically?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's. I didn't know there were so many creative ways to kill somebody. But I don't let it in.
Give me some examples. What are these threats against you?
They're going to come in and stab me and cut me in pieces. I mean,
Who's making these threats? Is it delegates? Is it Trump supporters?
It's Trump supporters. And we just pray for the hearts that are so hardened and have such hatred, Lord. We just know who the source of that hate is. And
until the age of 20, Kendall was in a cult, a Christian following known as The Move. Donald Trump, she says, reminds her of a cult leader.
And you wouldn't have even had to have grown up in a cult to recognize a cult leader tendencies. If you look at this undying devotion in the followers, because that's what the problem is here. Anything that came out, no matter how repulsive it was, no matter how wrong it is, none of it mattered, because the fear and the anger had been demagogued in such a way that their faces were set like flint, and it's like they have blinders on.
Amen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll take hugs. Thank you, guys. I'm telling you that I tell people, I said, prayer and money now are fueling this. Prayer first. The money was great. Prayers brought the money.
It's the day before the convention, and there's yet another plan to stop Donald Trump.
What are you doing here?
Just coming to say hello.
Hello, where am I going? I'm
Really fast. You're talking to me really fast.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah. Hey,
You having
guys.
fun?
Oh, having a ball.
They're going to force a roll call vote. Every single delegate on the convention floor will be asked if they accept the party's rules package, including the rule which binds them mostly to Donald Trump. This will be the last chance to unbind and to roll him.
We've got some meetings later on.
Sniff a story.
Sniff a story? We've got some meetings happening later on this evening with some of the delegates. That might be interesting angles for you.
Cool. To get a roll call vote, they need the signatures of a majority of delegates from at least 7 states. A massive task in just 20 hours. And complicating things, there's dissent in the ranks. A rival faction is forming.
Okay, thank you. I guess this is going to afterwards, so I guess I can be honest about this. So, Bo Correll. Have you talked to Bo? Have you met with
The lawyer.
Bo? The lawyer, yeah.
Bo Correll, a lawyer and delegate from Virginia, who also wants to stop Trump, is calling his own meetings in secret with delegates.
I've spent most of my day, honestly, trying to keep the wheels on the cart long enough that we can get the signatures on this and we can actually have a chance at stopping the rules tomorrow.
Dane knows where they're meeting, and he's gate crashing.
You can get them completed. It was good talking with you, and thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, everyone. Oh, hey. I'm Dane Waters. Thought I'd drop by. Well, we didn't bring it in. Folks, we speak
We've done fucking nothing. We've done nothing. You didn't tell us the meeting was happening, though. I want you to balls up and say, Dane, I should have told you. That's all I'm gonna do. Dane, I should have told you. That's all I want to do.
I don't really care.
Okay, but no.
Who does it? Shit's gotta get done.
You don't want.
I mean, I'm helping.
Really? Yeah. Where the fuck have you been all the time?
Well, you did call me.
Hey, guys. Alan, go. Back. Out of here.
All right.
Go.
All right, I agree.
All right. It's good.
Everything good, gents?
Oh, yeah.
Some bro love there.
Excuse us one second. Okay, so real quick, I don't want we have a lot going on. There's a party tonight.
A few hours later, they've patched things up.
So everyone, this is Bo Correll. Bo with Regina. Hey guys. So whatever we can do to help Bo and free the delegates, get the signatures signed is great. But they're all working together to ensure that the signatures get had. That's the most important thing.
Your delegates, obviously.
Yes.
There's some delegates that are trying to disrupt, to stop Trump, to dump Trump. What do you think their chances are of doing that?
0.
Yeah, agreed. Slim and none.
But at the end of the day, Trump won the majority of the delegates. On the first ballot, he will be our nominee, and we will unite behind him.
All eyes really are on the floor of this convention centre right now. This party desperately wants to show unity, and this could be the moment of truth.
right after 1 o'clock.
Right after 1.
How are you going, Kendall? How are the signatures going?
Good. We have the signature.
I'll show you.
From all 7 states?
Yep. So now it's a matter of not having our deliverer get tased or knocked out by somebody. But we actually have to worry, and we actually sent him with a bodyguard. That's unprecedented.
And wouldn't you know, the Colorado delegation shoved back into a corner alongside.
I don't know who did. Our Colorado did.
Kendall's push is the center of attention. It's derailing the start of this event.
You're going back to delegation?
I have to.
We're going to follow you.
If Donald Trump has the support he says he does, and he wants to unify this party, then he just needs to say, hey, you know, vote freely for me. So.
Hey guys, you're in between me and my crew. Let them come through, please, if that's okay. I know, but she wants to do an interview with me. You understand, right? I know, but you understand. Kendall wants to talk to me, right?
Yeah, we need MSNBC
Thanks.
live because it's part of this.
Well, they seem to be being outmaneuvered by the Republican establishment right now. They're sending messages through to all their followers saying that the secretary of the convention's hiding, that they're refusing to even look at the signatures. I think they've got enough people behind them to do this, but they're not winning the game.
Go to 106, 107. No, all right.
Womack of Arkansas.
The convention is finally starting. It's getting underway with the call for a voice vote to accept the rules that bind delegates to support Trump.
Those in favor of the rules package will say aye. Those opposed shall say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Was that the rules? The rule is countdown, and he called it for the ayes, but I don't know what. It was 4 to 1 against, and he said the ayes have it. It was. That's what they're all yelling about.
Okay, we gotta get something drafted up.
It was overwhelming. So what you are witnessing is a staff takeover of the party from the delegates.
Which is why we were pushing for a roll call vote to ensure that this didn't happen. But what they did, basically, they not only ignored our petition, but they ignored the fact that the delegates said that they want to vote down the rules. And he, clearly, as you heard, the nays had it, and he just gavelled down and said, doesn't matter. I've never witnessed such absolute total, in this country, absolute total corruption. I don't know a better way to put it. I mean, they basically just stole from the delegates, once again, their power and authority to even ratify the rules.
Point of order! Point of order! Point of order! Very sorry, but I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to do this again.
11 states, the delegates, a majority of the delegates from 11 states have submitted written petitions asking for a roll call vote on the rules. Our rules allow us to get a roll call vote in that circumstance. That's all we're wanting.
Turn on the Utah microphone so we can be heard.
The microphones on the floor are turned off. To try and subdue the chaos, the chair is letting a delegate speak.
The chair recognizes the delegate from Utah.
My name is Phil Wright. I am the chair of the Utah delegation. I make a motion that we have a roll call vote on the rules.
I second the motion.
Just when they seem on the verge of a breakthrough, there's another surprise.
The secretary received requests from a total of 9 states requesting a roll call vote on adoption of report on the Committee on Rules. Subsequently, the Secretary received withdrawals, which caused 3 states to fall below the threshold required under the rules. Accordingly, the chair has found insufficient support for the request for a record vote.
And just like that, the party establishment crushes the rebellion. It's over.
They said that they got some of the signatures withdrawn. What happened?
Well, they whipped him pretty hard, but see, we should have been allowed to find out which states withdrew and which names withdrew. We have a right to know that because we can't just take them at their word that names withdrew.
They accuse you of dividing the party, but
Yeah,
what have they done?
Well, you could see that it's a divided party without me. All I'm doing is representing the people that you saw on the floor that feel the same way we do, that he's not the best reflection of our party. So, I mean, I'm not alone here. There was an awful lot of support on this floor that they chose to ignore, so.
Did you feel that groundswell of support?
Well, did you see it? Okay, did you guys all watch it? Did you witness it? And that's why we're frustrated, because obviously there's 1,500 people in this room that feel as I do, and they should have just had the roll call vote. It's called fairness, it's called process.
The chair announces that Donald J. Trump, having received a majority of these votes entitled to be cast at the convention, has been selected as the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States.
Oh yeah, let's get a picture of everybody. Maybe just right here.
Say, conscience.
You saw a destruction of the party. You guys were witness to it. You saw the death of a party, the death of a brand, and we know how we got here, and the leadership allowed it to get here. And so now we have to wrest power and control from that leadership and rebuild from the bottom up.
When all the news came out yesterday that the movement had been beaten and that we had failed, people honestly wrote and said, you fought the good fight, you did the right thing, we're proud of you. And my son, he said good, positive things, so, yeah. I mean, and that's the most important thing to me.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, it's just, as I said, it's just very sad. But at the same time, it gives me hope that my son, is very supportive. So.
Can Donald Trump win this election?
I really don't believe so. I just don't see electorally how he can get there. And I think that he could personally, be responsible for destabilizing this country and this world in many ways. So, if I had to choose today between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, I have to say I would vote for Hillary Clinton.
I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
You're a tough, determined woman that's just taken on Donald Trump and failed. Hillary Clinton is a tough, determined woman that's about to take him on as well. What's your lesson from this for her?
Well, she doesn't even have to take on Trump. She just needs to let Trump be Trump and continue to play Trump against Trump.
It is time to show.
Donald Trump self-destructs. And so there's a saying in politics, just let them have the rope and they'll hang themselves.
And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night. I love you.